Welcome to Forbidden Planet TV. I'm Andrew Sumner. I've got a real treat today because I'm joined by a recurring guest, if you will, the three biggest names in hardboiled fiction, Mr. Max Allan Collins. How are you, brother?
I'm good. We're the president and vice president of the Black Shirt Society.
We are indeed. We are indeed. For many reasons.
Yes,
We could go into in tremendous detail. And to continue that theme of shared brotherhood, the reason you're here today, of course, is this is an all Mike Hammer edition of Forbidden Planet TV.
it is.
So we have some great news, which is the 75th anniversary Mike Hammer novel, Kill Me If You Can, is just about to publish. It publishes in mid-August 2022. Here's a copy of it right here. Kill Me If You Can. There we go. Written
Nice.
by Max Allan Collins and Mickey Spillane. 75 years of Mike Hammer. So 75 years since the first Mike Hammer novel, I, the Jury. So Max, what can you tell us about this glorious package?
Well, it's kind of like the cherry on the sundae, although we've got more ice cream coming, as we will discuss. But it's a cherry on the sundae here of the Mike Hammer Mickey Spillane legacy project that Titan has been doing with me for over 10 years now. And it started at another publisher that did 3, and then Titan picked it up and bought the first 3. So we're all under one nice film noir umbrella. And when you mention I, the Jury is the first Mike Hammer, the fact is we actually published the very first Mike Hammer, which was Killing Town, which was the one that Mickey had started working on even before I, the Jury. So what's been fun is for me as a fan is to fill in the spaces in the continuity of Mike Hammer. More so than almost any other mystery writer of his era that I can think of, there was a really implied continuity. Mike Hammer did seem to carry the traumas of previous cases with him into the next case, and he seemed to get older. Now, Mickey fudged it a little bit, but you could absolutely tell which era Mickey was writing in when you see the fragments and partial manuscripts I worked with. You could date them pretty well. You could say, because this is the kind of thing he was doing at this point, or these were the things that were on his mind at this point. And Kill Me If You Can is particularly exciting to me because we are filling in a major blank in the continuity of Mike Hammer. And I know the Titan audience, this is a continuity crowd, right?
Yeah, right on.
I mean, we like origin stories because we have that comic book stuff in our blood, like Mickey did, because Mickey was a comic book writer. And Kill Me If You Can takes place between the very famous Kiss Me Deadly,
Yeah, of course.
which ended with a gut shot Mike Hammer crawling out of a burning building. And then there was not a Mike Hammer novel for 10 years. And that was The Girl Hunters, which Mickey, about a year later, made a movie of himself starring as Mike Hammer. So there's this 10-year gap. And during in terms of the series, it's described as 7 years. And he's been in the gutter. So when the very first line of The Girl Hunters is, they found me in the gutter. So there's this incredible period that what happened to Mike Hammer? What was he doing besides getting drunk and getting in bar fights? And so Mickey had written in around 1954, he had written a Mike Hammer screenplay, essentially, like a TV movie. And he also did a version of the same story as a radio show and of a half-hour version. So this was the next Mike Hammer story, basically. It was never produced. So I took that and I used that as the narrative that we would use to discuss how did Mike Hammer get from the end of Kiss Me Deadly to the beginning of The Girl Hunters 10 years later. So it's a key continuity implant, as we we say, those of us that have some comic book stuff in our blood,
Yeah,
and
I mean, it's such a wonderful piece of narrative to insert, and it's something that, as a lifelong Hammer fan, as you as the author and a lifelong Hammer fan, this is a part of the story that I've been waiting for a long time. So I know that yourself and your editor, whoever that guy is, both were really looking.
He's another of these hard drinking guys. He gets found in the gutter frequently.
That is truer than you know. Well, it's true, mate. Yeah.
Once upon a time.
That's why he's no longer a hard drinking guy.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, it's the fun thing about this is that I got to extrapolate just what happened. But more than that, what's really fun is I get to write about Mike Hammer where he's really psychotic.
Yeah.
And I have not had very many complaints about what I do with Mike Hammer, but sometimes people say, gee, I wish I really like to see that young, crazy Mike Hammer, because he's very, very crazy in the early part of his career. Well, the unfinished books that I had from Mickey, the things he began, were mostly done from about 1954 to 1960, and then later there was another period he laid off. So I have books that he had begun in the 60s and in the 70s and in the 80s and the 90s, and so I'm trying to write Mike Hammer, that version, which I figure if it's the 60s, that's one kind of Mike Hammer. There were only, I think, 3 books and we've done 14. Mickey did 13. We've done 14, all with Spillane content, all with genuine Spillane content. But of those 14, only 3 deal with a young, frankly psychotic Mike Hammer. One was Killing Town, which was the first book that preceded I, the Jury, that I completed. Then there was one called Kill Me Darling. Now, that's really interesting because it was actually a false start on the Girl Hunters. Now, we're getting in the weeds here, all right? And I don't mean King of the Weeds, which is the title of another Mike Hammer book. But in Kill Me Darling, it had the same setup as the Girl Hunters, but instead of disappearing behind the Iron Curtain in Russia, she disappeared. Velda, who was a PI herself, a former vice cop, disappeared into the wilds of Florida and was living with a gangster. And Hammer goes south, shall we say, and he really is in a very bad mood about that. And we had a great time with that. So in terms of the continuity now, Velda disappears twice. I can't help it. That's what I had to do. But it was so much fun to deal with the disturbed, the upset, the hard drinking, the cigarette smoking. Because Mickey kind of cleaned Hammer up a little bit over the years, matured him, and he always was tough. I mean, the books never end well for bad guys. They never do. But to be able to deal with Hammer at a traumatic point in his life, I think makes this a pretty special Mike Hammer book.
Yeah, I agree, and I think what doubles down on the special nature of that is that we were very fortunate, because something that you pitched and Titan's publishers, Vivian Chung Landau, Nick Landau, really went for and supported was augmenting Kill Me If You Can with some great Hammerverse content, so 5 extra stories.
We had over the years, I had done some Mike Hammer short stories from shorter fragments, and those were collected in a book, a book called A Long Time Dead.
Yeah, great book.
But I also had done other stories of his. There were several that were I developed from radio shows that were not produced. One from a TV show that wasn't produced. And then he did a My Camera Radio style playlet that was done on a 33 and a third record at one point. Anyway, I had 5 stories set in the world of My Camera, 2 with My Camera, the other 2 in what we call the Hammerverse. And I went to Nick, our esteemed publisher, and just said, I'd really like to make this 75th anniversary volume special and put those stories in the back. And, you know, and I said, I'll set them up so we understand sort of how they fit and why we're doing that. So you have quite a bonus, I think, here of it's sort of like half a short story collection, right? I mean,
right on.
it's another about 100 pages, I think.
Another 100 pages of content right in here, and
Yeah.
it's glorious. Max, it's glorious stuff. And for anybody who's like ourselves, a long time Hammer fan of the Hammerverse, if you will, the thing to bear in mind is that the short story that closes out the collection, Tonight My Love,
It's an origin story.
Is the origin story of a very key member of the Hammercast.
Right, and so we won't say any more than that, because if you aren't familiar with that story, you'll get a kick out of it. And I think it's a good tribute to Mickey that this whole volume doesn't make sense entirely until you read the last word. And he did that 2 times in his career. One time he did it $1,000 bet with an editor, saying I can leave the last word off and the book won't make any sense. And that's a book called Vengeance Is Mine. Yeah. He did the same thing with a non-My Camera called The Deep. Without the last word, you're not sure what happened. And so I think it's fitting that the last word here. So don't look at the last word. Now, my wife is the type of person who will look at the last word immediately. She has no self-control when it comes to narratives. She wants to know right now. But please, Hammer fans, don't.
Yeah, leave yourself in suspense and just read the whole thing in sequence. Yeah. But it is a glorious last word, and it was a privilege to work on it. It's a privilege to read your work, Max. It really is.
Well, it's nice to have somebody, and we will reveal your secret identity, which is that you've been the editor now on, this is the third or fourth one you've done.
Yeah.
And having somebody as attuned to Mickey Spillane and My Camera as you are is a real boon. And of course, Nick and Viv's have believed in this from the beginning, this legacy, the idea that this stuff needs to be done. Because to recap just a little bit, most of the really major fictional private detectives or detectives in general have a big shelf. I mean, we're talking, look at how much Sherlock Holmes there was done by Conan Doyle.
Yeah.
You have Perot is in, I don't know, 40 books and how many short stories, and Perry Mason was in about 100. So most of the really classic detectives have this humongous shelf of books. Mickey only did 13. Now there's some interesting reasons for that, which we won't go into. I'm going to plug another publisher's book right now.
Right on. Yeah.
And that is the biography that I wrote with my friend James L. Traylor for Mysterious Press. Comes out in January of 2023, kind of the end of the 75th anniversary celebration. Spillane, King of Pulp Fiction.
Man, I can't wait to see that.
Well, the mysteries of why My Camera was published in such a strange, sporadic way. Because, Andrew, you understand this. When he published Kiss Me Deadly, and it became one of the very first mystery novels to be on all the big bestseller lists, he was Stephen King.
Yeah.
He was the best-selling writer internationally. And right at that moment, with his most famous character, he didn't do anything for 10 years with that character. Why? Well, the mystery is solved in Spillane, King of Pulp Fiction.
Spillane, the King of Pulp Fiction, coming in January 2023. And I haven't read that and cannot wait to read it, mate. I just can't. But
But you can't. Readers can't appreciate that book unless they've read "Kill Me If You Can" first.
That's so true. Kill Me If You Can, of course, available for pre-order from forbiddenplanet.com from the links attached to our conversation. Now, this jamboree of great Spillane news, of great Mike Hammer news, has not yet come to an end, because we're going to close out with a piece of information that has made both of us very happy. And I'll let you fire out both barrels, mate.
Well, we're coming to the end of the legacy, and I have two more major Spillane manuscripts to complete. And it might have been a logical place to stop at the 75th anniversary and wave from the back of the train as it recedes into the distance, but I wanted to finish the whole thing, and so I made a case to Nick and Viv at Titan, and we decided to finish it out. We're going to do two more books, and if I can stay above ground, that's going to happen.
I feel that you will, Max. I feel that you will. I'm rooting for you.
And we so there'll be one there'll be one in 2023 and one in 2024.
Yeah, but
that will complete the legacy series.
Oh yeah, so two more books, August 2023 and August 2024, titles to be announced. But the thing that we can tell you is that August 2024 does indeed definitively bring Mike Hammer's story to a brilliant conclusion, which I can't wait for Hammer fans out there to read. We're very excited about it, right, mate?
Yeah, that's not the next book, but the book after that.
Yeah.
But it is pretty interesting. It's pretty special, and it's something that Mickey had planned. So we'll see how that.
And they both go to both of the novels to come go to very interesting places for Mike Hammer, and it really is, filling out the saga of his life.
I like to mention too that I just did the commentary for the Blu-ray of the 1953 I, the Jury, which is being released. I think it's going to be released in the UK, probably by Studio Canal, and in the United States by Classic Flicks. And it's a beautiful print, and it's 4K, Blu-ray, 3D, all in one. And then as a special feature, the Brian Keith half-hour Mike Hammer pilot from 1954 will be included. It's the ultimate package of vintage Mike Hammer cinema. And there's a few other books out there. Mickey's three kids books that he did famously have been collected, The Shrinking Island, and so it's a big celebration. But the thing I'm really proud of is Kill Me If You Can.
Right on. It's a big year for Hammer, the big 75th anniversary for Hammer and for Mickey Spillane's Mike Hammer, and that is Kill Me If You Can, available from the links attached to our conversation.
Is that why it has that little 75 on it?
That's exactly right. Yeah, that's indeed the 75th bullet, if you will. This is
should have been a 45.
Yeah, this is a Max Allan Collins production right here, the 75th bullet, and you'll find that bullet on Spillane, the King of Pulp Fiction, as well, won't you?
Yes, you will.
Right on.
It's on several of the things that we've done. There's a thing called The Menace from a screenplay of his, and The Shrinking Island, and there's a collection of the novellas. And there's one Mike Hammer in there called Stand Up and Die. So, I mean, we really went all out this year.
Yeah.
We really went out. Yeah, because 1947 is when it all started.
And I think anyone who's a Hammer fan, anyone who's a noir fan, a hard-boiled fan, is really going to enjoy this package. It's great stuff, and it really gets you right in the gut, which is what you want, of course.
I think he's somebody who's going to last, because the real pillars of the private eye world, the private eye fiction, Dashiell Hammett, Raymond Chandler, Mickey Spillane, and then you've got James M. Cain, but he's not a private eye writer. Ross MacDonald came a little bit later, and so on. And there's some, I'm not saying they're the only ones, but if you like private eye fiction at all, and noir private eye fiction, those are the three guys that it's all built on: Hammett, Chandler, and Spillane. And so it's very exciting to be able to bring this material to the old audience, the old, I won't say, people like us, but also people that are meeting Mike Hammer for the first time, or perhaps saw the Stacy Keach TV shows and never really read the books.
Yeah.
And so I think, I think we're doing God's work.
Well said, Max. Absolutely, absolutely right. Both barrels for God with Mickey Spillane's Mike Hammer, and Kill Me If You Can, available from the links. And brother, it is always great to see you.
I'm going to reveal the surprise ending. You can't kill Mike Hammer.
It's so true. It's so true. Who would even want to?
It's been tried many times.
Well, the same thing goes, of course, for Max Allan Collins.
Oh, I that would be nice. I don't think I'm quite as immortal as Mike Hammer, but I'm trying.
Max, great to see you, brother. You take care of yourself, and obviously we'll be speaking soon about the next wave, about the next two Hammer novels.
Yeah, we probably have some Mystery to talk about, don't we, at some point?
Yeah, we'll be back with a Mystery edition in the near future for sure.
Great.
You take care of yourself, mate. I'll see you soon.
Thank you.
If you're enjoying watching Forbidden Planet TV and you're enjoying watching us talk to the world's most interesting and accomplished filmmakers, authors, artists, musicians, creators, subscribe right here. See you soon.